Always nice to do these videos. I enjoy them. My name is Mabongi. I'm so glad you have opened this video, how to set your team up for success. It doesn't matter again and what kind of work you do, but I'm thinking some of the things that I'm going to mention will be helpful in your context. So let's go. So how do you set up your team for success? In the last video that I shared with you, three secrets of building a strong team. One of the things that I said at the end was to actually set up your team for success. I did mention quite a number of things that you can do to set up your team for success in general. But today, I really want to break it down to just three key things that you can do on a day to day basis to set your team up for success. So let's go. The first one that you can do is give clear instructions. Now, um, I'm laughing because I'm now thinking that we all are we all on the same page what is an instruction, because sometimes we say things as something that we were just saying, but it doesn't land to the next person as an instruction, something that they're expected to do. Others misunderstand an instruction to a suggestion, and they misunderstand an instruction to, um, just an idea that they can take, or they can reject. And so perhaps let's start there. Giving clear instructions is, don't just think because you were chatting about something, you have given an instruction. So don't think it is a random task. This is not a random task. It's a task that is purposeful, that is, it needs you to plan, it needs you to think it through. How are you going to give it? So on and so forth. There is another video that I'm going to share with you that says, how do you actually give an instruction? How do you give an instruction? So yeah, so give clear instruction. Your team needs to be clear about what is expected of them, and they need to also know when their task is expected of them, and how are they expected to do it, and when they expect. Why am I swallowing my words? So the first thing, what needs to be done, how, and by when. That's bottom line is that. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. Provide adequate support. Now, providing adequate support is not just about cheering people on, encouraging them, as much as that is part of giving adequate support. Just that is not adequate. There are more things that involve giving support. Some of them is that provide relevant guidelines, SOPs or policies. People need to know how things are done. And if those documents are not available for them, then when they make mistakes, they don't have reference, so you're showing them support by making the information that is relevant to what they're doing available. You're providing adequate training, you are supervising them, you're giving support to your staff as individuals, as a group, and as individuals. Now, how does that look like training? You don't just give once off training and you expect people to remember it for the next 5 years. Training is an ongoing exercise, and it doesn't have to happen once a year and once in 3 years. You can have continuous times of training where people refresh what they already know. You can also don't you know I don't know. Sometimes we compromise the training budget because we don't think it's important. It's important because when you train people consistently in what they're doing on the everyday, or every day. I mean, think of it like this: for sports, they are playing the same game, yet they're in training. They go to camps. They to do one and the same thing. So your team members, they need continuous training. If someone is a cashier, continuous training, because what happens when when you do something over and over again, sometimes you lose the sense of its value. You start to slack. You start to forget why you're doing what you're doing. You start to forget why you did it the way that you do it. You learn new new tendencies that are not fitting to the quality and the level of professionalism that is expected. And so when you provide training, you want to maintain the level of sensitivity, the level of quality of the service you provide, or the quality of the product you provide. And so training is is important. It's important, and it's part of providing support to your team. Supervision, it's so nice to have a team where you don't have to micromanage. People are given tasks and they know what to do, but it's not always the case. At other times, teams need supervision. They need the physical presence of the supervisor. They need someone to look after them, not to police them, not to, I don't know, to 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 micromanagement, but to be present. Sometimes we forget what supervision is. Supervision is support. Supervision um, is support. Not, I think we have landed on the negative 10 of what supervision is. Other people no longer love supervision because it I don't know, it just feels like someone policing you, someone always looking to critique you and finding fault with you. But supervision is not that. Supervision is encouragement. Supervision is training. Supervision is providing um, over the things that you would overlook when you would have been alone. Things you would have missed. Things Supervision provides just a sense of security. It's supposed to do that. And so um if a team just knows that a supervisor or manager doesn't pitch, is not present, is not available on email, on call, or is just never available, sometimes it creates such instability, within the team, insecurity, a sense of insecurity. It's like a parent, and the children. You can't say you are parenting and you're not present. You can't say you are in a partnership and you're not present. And so supervision is like that. I think we need to bring back the positive meaning of what supervision is. I remember my very first supervisor was such an incredible lady. I probably, if I had to put, if I had to rate her from 1 to 10, I would rate her a good 8. She would, give support. I remember things like, what you need to do, everything I needed, it would be provided. She would be proactive. I never had to ask her twice for things. I never had to, be afraid to speak to her. I remember when I wasn't doing well, and she had to call me out. Oh my goodness. Ooh, why would I remember that? But I remember I was still very new. It was still the under around my probation months, within the 3 months. I remember saying, you know what, I'm not gonna talk to you. I don't think I should talk to you. I'll let so and so. And she was pointing at another member of the team. And this lady, with so much cheek, she was, she was so, you know, cheeky. And she's just like, okay, let's start here. This team does not have this reputation. I remember I was supposed to be offended by that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was supposed to be offended, but how it was said, I wasn't. I was actually challenged and encouraged. So this supervisor could notice that some of the things she didn't have to do, she would allocate to senior members of the team. And I remember the senior members, not just any, she knew when to refer someone for different things. For this person, she had to teach me how to do my work more efficiently and more um, professionally. I remember within that hour of our staff meeting, I was able to go back and do my work more efficiently. And it was just support. They just gave me support. They didn't, you know, lash at me. They didn't, make me feel small. They made me part of the team. I remember that feeling of saying, this team does not, now that you are part of this team, you're not going to give anything less than the best. So that is supervision, supporting the staff. I remember that within that time as well, I had, being moved in a new area. I didn't know anyone. It was my supervisor that told me actually so and so is from this area, and I was shocked. I had a friend, her home was in the same area. Started making new friends just from meeting another family that I could make friends with. How was that? It's because my supervisor knew that it's not just about me doing the work. I needed to be able to survive in the environment where she has placed me. And it wasn't about, I wasn't experiencing the same thing as my other colleagues were experiencing. So she focused on me. That was support. So another thing is, give me the right equipment, give me the right budget, be fair in my pay. I've spoken a lot about that in my previous video. So let's move on. That thing, be available for the team. Oh my God. We are in the era now. People are working remotely, and we've got apps that connects us to the team. Don't be offline and unavailable when the team wants, to meet with you. There are many ways that you could be available, be accessible. You may not be physically present with the team, but your email, I mustn't email you and only get a response 3 days, 4 days later. Nah, that's not cool, because then you're not present. You're not visible to me as a supervisor or as a manager. Phone calls all the time. Your team cannot find you. No, that's not good. Your messages are not being responsive. Most companies now use WhatsApp a lot. This person blue ticks everybody. Be available for your team and make time. Check on your team. you know I know people would tell you, if you've got people that are confident with themselves, they will tell you if they're struggling and they will ask for help, but others won't tell you. So avail yourself in the sense that reach out to them, make it obvious that they can come to you, observe, listen, offer help. People follow people who care about them, and that's important to always remember. Um, if people are sensing that you're a person who doesn't care, it's easy for them to just shut you out, and not tell you they have had a loss in their family, and not tell you that actually, what, they went and they invested their salary, and you know, um, and they lost everything, or they're losing their home. It's easier for people to just shut you out. And it would be so sad to discover what people went through while they're in your team and you never knew about it. Someone lost a child and they never told you. And so being available, it goes beyond your day to day. I know we encourage people to leave their problems outside of the workplace, but if we care, we will not demand that of people. Obviously, we want, after you have shared what's going on in your life, don't now manipulate the team and to to and not work and not be effective in the team just because something happened. Let people be available, let people provide you with support, but at the same time also be mindful that here it is a workplace and you need to produce as expected. As much as my advice to supervisors, give people space to be human beings and not askafiki in the sense of robots. We still work with people, and so we want to be available for them as much as we can. So the point is, being available is when work is concerned. Hey, Bana, guys, the last funeral I went to that had someone from a company, it was a bit disturbing. It was a bit disturbing. Now, this is not to judge the company. I don't know the culture of the company, but what happened in that funeral, the workers were disturbed, were frustrated, were angry because a colleague had passed on and work went on as normal, and the manager was not available was it a memorial service? Not available for the memorial service, not available for the funeral. And so the team members went and organized their own transport and they made it to the funeral. They were angry. They were angry. Now, I don't want to say in our African context, I want to say humanly, humanity, as humanity, we cannot do such things. We have to be available. People need to know that we care. I was trying to think. I didn't, I wasn't concerned about the person who has passed on. I was concerned about the members that are going to go back on Monday and work. And I'm thinking, how are they going to look at their manager? What would be their attitude? What would be their behavior? Because what you do to one, the kindness you show to one, you actually show to the rest. I know others would, debate this point, thinking, oh, favoritism. No, sometimes you don't have to be nice all the time, but when it matters, there are moments where it really matters for you to be available. Look for those moments and be available for them, and not bury yourself and not lose your team over just one thing that you didn't do well. I was trying to imagine if this person was a good person, because all of a sudden they didn't sound like a good person anymore. How can you lose a team member and not be available for that, and not make. I've been into funerals where someone would say our manager or our boss could not make it, but they sent this letter, or they would read their letter. That is being available for your team. Um, if there's crisis, especially we come from COVID, and many people they had so much anxiety. People didn't know, and people who really um, rallied around their teams survived through COVID, because they made themselves available. They knew that as much as they are going through a tough time, they had to be available for their teams and not make their teams keep guessing whether the company is going to shut down. They were transparent with the information. They were sharing as much as they can. And so it is important to be available. I can't stress that enough. So you give clear instructions, you provide adequate support, and you are available for your team. At the end of the day, that's how you set your team up for success. So now, if you found this very helpful for you and you can resonate, let me know. Let's customize the training for your team or for your supervisors or your managers, and let's start building strong teams. I think I think we need it. Our organizations need it, whether it's nonprofit organizations or organization companies or government organizations. We need to build strong teams. This is the time where we portray or let people know that we actually care. And so, yeah. So if you find this helpful, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.